Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new video on the channel. Today, we are going to talk about the origin and mythos of dragons. Before we get started with the video, don't forget to smash the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get started. The dragon is one of the best-known mythological monsters of modern times. However, it has a long history that many people are ignorant of. Most people see a dragon as a big reptile-like creature with massive wings that spits fire and attacks castles. However, the dragon, like many ancient creatures, had humbler origins. Dragon mythology has been around almost as long as humans have. Indeed, many early Mesopotamian and other Near Eastern cultures have rich oral histories that account of great storm gods saving the people from evil, huge serpents. These serpents frequently possessed a variety of horrifying characteristics, ranging from luminous skin to the capacity to breathe fire and fly. These myths served as the foundation for our understanding of dragons. So, how does one adequately describe the terrifying dragon? For starters, it appears that a dragon is any type of serpent with a particularly frightening disposition. This is represented by the word draken, from which the English term dragon was derived. Draken is Greek for big serpent or sea serpent, or sea serpent. Furthermore, most dragons are characterized as being wicked. However, as Chinese mythology demonstrates, this is not always the case. Dragons are sometimes shown as kind and smart creatures, the evolution of the dragon. Dragons were often portrayed in early cultures as enormous serpents and monsters that were either highly beneficent or frightening and difficult to slay. Geographic geography frequently influences a region's beliefs. Dragons were generally seen as wise deities with control over storms and water in Eastern cultures. They also considered the dragon a powerful and beneficent monster capable of warding off evil. Western societies see things very differently. They frequently viewed dragons as terrible monsters who delighted in slaughter and chaos. Many dragons are shown as inhabiting dark and treacherous environments that were frequently dangerous for men in ancient times. Furthermore, they were frequently supposed to guard wealth hoards. Before the Middle Ages, dragons were widely assumed to be wingless in both cultures. During this period, Western cultures began to change their depictions of dragons, while Eastern societies maintained their traditions, myths associated with dragons. While many people are aware that dragons are considered to guard wealth hoards, there are also other tales surrounding the species. One such story is that dragon's blood possessed magical characteristics that provided anyone who possessed it with unrivaled opportunity. A person's wound would never heal if they dipped a blade or knife into dragon blood and stabbed someone with it. However, not everything related to dragon blood is evil. It is also believed that dragon blood confers the power to see into the future. It is also believed that dragons from the Eastern world may alter size and shape. In reality, most dragons in Eastern mythology have the capacity to transform into humans at will. Dragons in ancient cultures. Many stories from ancient cultures tell of benevolent storm gods defeating huge sea serpents to save humans. One of the most prominent interpretations of this story in modern times is Yahweh's foretold fight with the giant Leviathan. These stories provide insight into the basis of many modern-day cultures. The Mushisu was an ancient Mesopotamian dragon who was supposed to be a god's attendant. This creature was thought to have lived in Babylonian palaces until dying at the hands of the biblical prophet Daniel. According to legend, Babylonian priests took Daniel to the temple of Bel, Nebuchadnezzar's god, and showed him a gigantic dragon, which many believed to be the Mushisu. When they saw the beast, they challenged him to a duel between his invisible god and their living god. Daniel eventually poisoned the Mushisu. Apep was said to be a massive serpent who was the solar god Ra's deadliest foe. Because of his enormous influence, there are several portrayals of him in Egyptian mythology and ancient Egyptian religion. While he was known as a malevolent deity who represented chaos and destruction, he was also one of their most treasured symbols. Apep is described in legend as a large entity, stretching approximately 16 yards 48 feet in length, according to certain sources. According to ancient texts, Apep was associated with the underworld. The sun was considered to set at night and rise in the morning to represent the times when Ra, the sun god, had to go into the underworld and combat Apep to safeguard the people above. Thunderstorms, according to legend, were generated by Apep's conflicts with Set, the god of storms, violence, and so on. Vritra is a gigantic dragon from early Vedic mythology. He is believed to be a malevolent spirit and the personification of drought. According to some sources, he was the dragon's firstborn. He is an adversary of Indra, the beneficent deity revered as a protector god. Vritra was notorious for impeding the flow of rivers, which the local population of these territories relied on for their survival. He did not release these waters from his captivity until the all-powerful god Indra vanquished him and put him to death. Because of the huge impact that Christianity has had throughout history, Leviathan has become one of the most well-known serpents in contemporary mythology. According to folklore, the Leviathan is a frightening snake that can grow to be approximately 480 kilometers in length. His two sets of armored scales interlock with one another in such a way that no air can get through between them. In addition to having flaming eyes and skin, Leviathan also possesses the ability to exhale flames. According to legend, there was once a period when there were not one but two Leviathans, one male and one female. They were perverted as soon as they were conceived, and the female was eventually put to death so that their offspring would not be able to consume the earth. Yahweh is said to make a final visit to earth at the end of time in order to put a stop to this monstrous snake's reign of terror once and for all. Even though dragons and serpents have been the source of inspiration for mythology in every civilization, Greek mythology is probably the one that is most well known in modern times. Both Typhon and Hydra have been the subject of numerous tales throughout history. Because Zeus's mother believed that her son should bear some responsibility for the way in which he deposed his father, she conjured up the serpent, like creature known as Typhon. The appearance of Typhoon struck fear into the hearts of the gods who lived above Mount Olympus. He was extremely difficult to vanquish, but Zeus, with the assistance of a few of his other brothers and sisters, was able to do so. There was a legend that the Lake of Lerna was home to the multi-headed snake known as Hydra. It was commonly believed at the time that Lerna was the entrance to the underworld. It was said that Hydra could not be defeated because if one of its heads was cut off, two more would grow in its place. In addition to this, one of the heads of the Hydra possessed immortality. In the end, Hercules was victorious over the dragon and was able to put an end to it by severing its heads and cauterizing the wound. Following that, he buried the immortal's head deep below the ground. During the Middle Ages, people were fascinated by stories about dragons that originated in a variety of different cultures. These stories came from the Bible, Greco-Roman writings, and the mythology of Western Europe. As a direct consequence of this, the dragon that is most frequently connected with modern times emerged. This change took place over the course of 3 centuries, beginning in the 11th century and continuing into the 13th century and continuing into the 13th century. The legend that emerged during this time period about the dragon that was the source of the child prophet Merlin is one of the most famous dragon tales ever told. According to legend, an Anglo-Saxon warlord named Vortigern made an attempt in the 12th century to construct a tower atop Mount Snowdon in order to fortify his stronghold and defend himself from invaders. However, he was not successful in his endeavors because the tower, no matter how many times it was constructed, was eventually consumed by the ground. The warlord's tower would collapse due to an underground pool just beneath its base. According to the young prophet Merlin, there were 2 sleeping dragons within, one white and one red. Vortigern drained the pool, and the 2 dragons emerged. They began fighting as soon as they were exposed to the surface. According to Merlin's prophecy, the white dragon would triumph over the red dragon, signifying England's conquest of Wales. That's a wrap on the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, let me know by giving it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.